Good morning, students. Welcome in this class. This is class 8, subject Social Science, and we are going to study History chapter 3, that is Ruling Countryside. It is the second lecture of the chapter, and students, as I told you that the countryside means this word is related to the villages or rural areas. Actually, the chapter is related to the revenues policies which were imposed by British government or East India Company on Indian villages. So let's we start today's discussion. Yes, in today's discussion, the topics which are to be discussed are like these. First is Rayatwari system, second Munro system, third problem with Rayatwari system, fourth crops for Europe, fifth history of indigo, and last one demand of Indian indigo. Yes, friends, before starting the today's discussion, first we will recapitulate our previous topics in brief. Yes, as we have studied in yesterday topic about the two revenue policies, permanent settlement and Mehalwari system. Yes, friends, as I told you that the British government introduced three revenue policies in India. These were permanent settlement, Mehalwari system, and third one is Rayatwari system. Yes, first we will recapitulate these two systems in brief. Yes, first is their permanent settlement. Yes, this revenue system was introduced by Cornwallis, okay, in 1793. And according to this system, that zamindars were made owner of the land and they were given the right of collection taxes. So in this way, that zamindar were the owner of the land and farmers became the tenants, and farmer had to pay 60% of the total production of their crops as taxes, and they had to pay these taxes in every situation, means whether there is flood or drought, means when there is good production or where there was less production and no production. So in all conditions they had to pay a fixed amount of revenue to the zamindars, and these zamindars means collected the taxes from these farmers and paid to the British government. And the system was also known as zamindari system because zamindars were the main, you can say, the head of this system. So understood permanent settlement? Yes. The second system was there, that was Mehalwari system. Yes, Mehalwari. Actually, Mahal word is referred to village. And this system was introduced by Holt Mackenzie in 1822 in the areas of presidencies of Bengal, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and Central India. Actually, after the failure of permanent settlement system, new system was devised, that was Mehalwari system. Okay, and in this system, village was considered as an important social institution in North Indian society. Means the system was introduced in the northern part of India, means in Bengal, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and Central India. And according to this system, village headman was appointed and who was given the right of collection taxes. Means that was the main difference between permanent settlement and Mehalwari system. Actually, in permanent settlement, zamindars were given the right of collection taxes, and in Mehalwari system, one village headman who was also known as Mukhia was appointed and given the right of collection taxes. And the second main difference between permanent settlement and Mehalwari, that in permanent settlement the farmer had to pay fixed amount, means the taxes were fixed, but in Mehalwari system the taxes were not fixed and could be changed periodically. Yes. Now the third system, Rayatwari system. Yes, students, Rayatwari system in the British territories in the south, a new system was devised which was known as Rayatwari system. Rayatwari was initiated or introduced by Captain Alexander Reed and Thomas Munro, and the system was extended all over the South India. Yes friends, now listen carefully ki what was this Rayatwari system. Actually, in southern part of India, the Britishers felt that permanent settlement method was not beneficial enough. So Thomas Munro developed a new method of revenue collection known as Rayatwari system. Means the system of revenue of collection taxes was introduced in the southern part of India. Means at the same time when Mahalwari system of revenue was introduced in the northern part of India. At the same time, this Rayatwari system was introduced in the southern part of India. And in the starting, this system, this Rayatwari system, was imposed or introduced by Captain Alexander Reid. Okay, in some of the particular areas, means which were won over by the company after defeating Tipu Sultan. Okay, and here Rayats refers to the cultivators or farmers. Understood friends? And later on the system was extended all over the south or southern India. So understood? Means in the starting, the system was introduced in some particular areas, the areas which were won by the British Company, East India Company after defeating Tipu Sultan. But later on, the system was extended all over or in the southern part of India. Understood? And what about this? Actually in this system, Rayat means farmers. Actually Rayat words is related to the peasants or the farmers or cultivators. Means those who cultivate the land, those who were the owner of the land, were directly involved for the collection of revenue, and it was fixed after the proper assessment of individual land. Yes students, the main difference between these two systems, Mahalwari and permanent settlement, the Rayatwari system. In Rayatwari system, that there were no mediator, means farmer directly paid these taxes, revenue to the British government. Understood? And under this system, the fields of Rayats or the farmers were carefully measured and assessed. Understood? So means Munro decided to directly deal with the Rayats or the cultivators who were tilling the land from generation. So understood? And now we have studied about the three systems of revenue collections, okay, which were imposed by the British government. Now let's compare all these three systems. Yes. First, I will tell you in the brief again the Rayatwari system. Rayatwari system was introduced by Thomas Munro in 1820. Major areas of introduction include Madras, Bombay, parts of Assam, and Coorg provinces of British India. In Rayatwari system, the ownership rights were handed over to the peasants or farmers. Means there were no mediator, and farmers had to pay these taxes directly to the British government. Means British government collected taxes directly from the farmers or peasants. And the revenue rates of Rayatwari system were 50% where the lands were dry and 60% in irrigated land. Means the land revenue or the taxes were not fixed. Means the areas which were fertile, so for that area farmer had to pay 60% taxes of their total production, and the areas which were less fertile or barren land, for that they had to pay 50% taxes of their total food production. So understood? Means taxes were not fixed. Yes. Now comparison among these three policies. Yes students, as we have studied that three policies were introduced by British government in Indian villages: permanent settlement, Mahalwari system, Rayatwari system. Now we will compare all these three policies. First, permanent settlement introduced in 1793. Mahalwari system introduced in 1822. Rayatwari introduced in 1822 in the same time, but Mahalwari system was introduced in northern part and Rayatwari introduced in southern part. Next one is Zamindars had the right of collection taxes in permanent settlement. And in Mehalwari settlement, yes, village headmen had the power to collect taxes. And in Rayatwari, British collected the taxes directly from the farmers. Third difference, revenue was fixed in permanent settlement. Revenue was not fixed in Mehalwari system, and Rayatwari system also the revenue were not fixed and every field was measured. Yes, next difference, like permanent settlement introduced in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Mehalwari system introduced in northern or western Punjab, and Rayatwari in the southern part like Madras and Bombay. So understood students about these three main revenue policies introduced by British. So now we have learnt the differences between all the three systems of revenue collection. We know that Rayatwari system was not introduced by the Britishers but soon actually was also introduced by the Britishers, but soon a new problem arised. Okay. When this Rayatwari system was introduced by the Britishers, means it also not got success. This system was also faced some problems. And what were these problems? Now we will discuss about it. All was not well. All was not well means all this system, whether it is permanent settlement, whether Mehalwari system or Rayatwari, no system was good system. Okay. And what were the problems with the Rayatwari system? As the desire to increase the income from land, revenue official fixed the revenue rate very high. Means under the Rayatwari system, farmers or the peasants were charged with a very high rate of tax. So they started deserting the countryside and it became impossible for them to pay taxes. What does it mean? Actually, as I told that very high taxes were imposed on the farmers under Rayatwari system. So when these farmers were unable to pay these high taxes, so what they started to do, actually they started to leave that places and started to shift to other places, means started migration, and in this way many villages become deserted in many regions. Okay, yes, means many villages change into the desert areas, means where there no people live. This is there. So Britishers were not actually means totally dependent on the revenue generated from Indian territories in the form of taxes. So they decided to use the crops of the country in order to earn more profit in the trading business. And now we will study about this. Yes. So as I told that peasants were forcefully evicted from their lands and had to left their places, and clashes happened at different places. Now crops for Europe. Actually by the late 18th century, the company was trying to expand the cultivation of opium or indigo, which was highly demanded in Europe. Yes students, what happened? Actually by the late 18th century, Britishers tried to expand the cultivation of two main cash crops, opium and indigo, in various parts of the India. They forced the cultivators or the farmers to grow various crops which were great in demand in European market. Cash crop or the food crop. Yes beta, the main difference between cash crop and food crop like means the crops which are the part of our dietary food like rice, wheat, and cash crop the crops which are grown to earn money. Okay, means to sell in the market and to earn money. So now British government forced the Indian farmer to grow more and more cash crop. Okay, so in this way, the Indian farmers that faced a shortage of food. Okay, and in this cash crop, the two main crops were there, and these were opium and indigo. Now we will study about one crop, indigo. Okay, so the British forced cultivator to produce jute, like jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in UP, wheat in Punjab, cotton in Maharashtra and Punjab, and rice in various parts of India, especially in Madras. So basically the more emphasis was laid on cultivation of indigo, just I told you. And but why it was so important to cultivate indigo and what was indigo, now we will discuss discuss about it. Yes friends, first of all you should know what indigo is and why it is used. Okay. Yes, now I'll tell you that basically indigo is a plant from which a blue powder is derived, and this is used to dye clothes in blue, or as we say, indigo color. And why this indigo was so important, we will discuss about it. First I want to tell you about more about this indigo cultivation. Like indigo was highly demanded in Europe. Yes, to get the indigo cultivation, the Tincathia system was introduced, and under this system, the peasants or the farmers had to cultivate indigo on 2/3 part of the total land. Actually, the indigo was highly demanded in Europe due to many reasons. First is their key industrialization. Okay, textile industrializations. Now in England or Britain, that many textile industries were set up, and in which a large amount of, you can say, that cloth production was there. So to dye these clothes, that more indigo or more coloring powder was needed. So in this way, the demand of indigo was increased in Europe, and for that the British government forced the Indian farmers to grow indigo in the 2/3 part of their total land. And because of the production of this cash crop and indigo, which had to be grown on the most fertile land, the farmers were left with little fertile regions to grow. Yes, the another reason was there, the problem faced by the that Indian farmers to grow indigo. Actually, the indigo was grown in fertile soil, and once the indigo was grown, so in this way the land loses its fertility. So after that, the peasants and the farmer could not grow rice in the same lands. Okay, and this crop reduced the production of food crops. Yes. Now, does color have a history? As I told beta, the rich blue color was commonly called indigo, as it was on a high demand in Europe, as it was used for dyeing purposes. So understood about the meaning of indigo? Keyword was indigo. Yes, it was a blue color powder which was used to dye the clothes in Europe, and India was the biggest supplier of indigo in the world in 19th century. Actually, what was the reason behind it? India's land and climate was suitable to grow indigo, and here means a large production of indigo powder was there. So in this way, India became the biggest supplier of indigo in the world. Indigo cultivation was one of the reasons for poor condition of the farmer and led riots in various farmers. Now I am showing you the two types of cloth, like kalamkari and Morris print, in which indigo was used for coloring. You are showing that is blue color or print is there, and in which indigo powder was used. Yes. Next, why the demands of Indian indigo? Yes, by the 13th century, Indian indigo was being used by cloth manufacturers in Italy, France and Britain to dye clothes. Yes, beta. Other countries in the world, means Asian country, they also grew the indigo in their fields. But why the Indian indigo was so famous or was in great demand? Actually, indigo produced a rich blue colors, whereas the dye from what another plant was pale and dull. Yes, in other countries, the another plant was used to derive this blue color powder, and that plant was wood. And in India, what was grown? Indigo. So what was the difference between indigo and wood? Actually, the powder which was derived from the wood, it was not of good quality. It was pale and dull, means not so shiny. Pale means yellowish. Okay, so that's why, and Indian indigo powder was of a very good quality. It is very shiny also. That's why Indian indigo was great in demand. Yes, indigo plantation came up in many parts of North America, Mexico, but during the wars in these regions and abolitions of slavery in French colonies, British started depending on India for the cultivation expansion of indigo. Means other countries also grew this indigo, but at that time in the French slavery system was abolished, and due to that they didn't get the slaves or laborers to grow the indigo. That's why in these areas that the productions of indigo was very less, okay, or finished. So British started depending on India for the cultivation or expansion of indigo. Yes, increased demand of indigo also came because of the heavy industrialization in Britain. Yes, as I told you at this time that in Britain textile industrializations developed, means a number of textile industries were set up in Britain, and in which large productions of textile or the clothes. So to dye this large stock of clothes, so more indigo powder was needed. So in this way, the demand of indigo was increased. To fulfill the demand of indigo, British used these colonies in tropical region and mainly in Africa and India, as the availability of land and that cheap labor were available easily. Okay, understood about it? Means actually the indigo powder was grown in tropical region, means in hot and humid climate, and in this way Africa and India was the main places, because here land and climate was suitable for growing indigo, and here cheap labor were also available due to the large population. Yes, understood students? So beta, in this way actually we have studied about that three system: Mehalwari system, permanent settlement, and Rayatwari system. Okay, in our next lecture we will study more about the indigo. Okay, about the indigo cultivation, how it was cultivated and its uses, and many other factors about the indigo. Okay, now note down your homework. First question is there, that what was the Monroe system? Okay, and it was also known as Rayatwari system. Means the other name of Rayatwari system was that Monroe system, because it was introduced by Thomas Monroe. So in this answer you have to describe about Rayatwari system. Understood students? Yes. Next one is there, by the end of the 18th century the demand of Indian indigo grew further. Okay, and what were the reason behind it? How did indigo trade attract foreign traders? Give two problems which arose with the new Monroe system of fixing revenue. Understood? Yes. And why did cloth dyers prefer indigo to wood? I told you about the two plants which were used to derive blue color powder. One was indigo and second one is wood. And indigo was of best quality. So why did cloth dyer prefer indigo to wood? Which you have tell that reason. Yes. Next one is there. Now we will have a discussion on homework solution, in which first question, describe the main features of permanent settlement. As we have revised today also that the system was introduced by Charles Cornwallis in 1793 in Bengal Presidency. According to this system, the Rajas and Talukdars were recognized as Zamindars, and Zamindars were given the right of collection taxes from the farmers. Zamindars had to pay the fixed amount of land revenue to the company. Means farmer collected the taxes from the farmers and paid to the British government. Yes, next one is there. What problems did Zamindar face under the permanent settlement? Yes, as the revenue had been fixed at very high rate, Zamindars found it difficult to pay. Anyone who failed to pay this revenue lost his zamindari. Understood? Means zamindar collected the taxes from the farmers and they had to pay a very high amount of taxes to the British government, and when they were unable to pay this large amount, then they were derived from this zamindari system. Means their zamindari posts were taken away from them by the British government. Name the Governor General of India when permanent settlement was introduced. Yes, Charles Cornwallis. Actually, Charles Cornwallis was who introduced the permanent settlement in 1793 in Bengal. What did the permanent settlement actually mean? Yes, the amount of revenue the farmers were expected to pay was fixed permanently and it could not be increased in future. Yes, our last question. How was the Mehalwari system different from permanent settlement? Yes, this permanent settlement was introduced by Cornwallis. Mehalwari system was introduced by Mackenzie. And in permanent settlement, revenue was fixed permanently and but in Mehalwari system, revenue could be changed time to time. Third difference, zamindars had the right of collection taxes, and in Mehalwari system, village headman had the right of collection taxes. So understood, students? So in this way, our today's lecture is completed. Tomorrow we will meet again with the next lecture of this chapter. Thank you. Yes, students, first I want to tell you one more thing, that now you have to submit your homework on my email ID, which is mentioned along with your homework on Adquark. Thank you.